is a very dear friend of mine. He's been a friend of mine for the last 14 years, and the irony is in the past, he's the one that's been introducing me for my awards. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Mark Sincata, who was the New Org Agent of the Year, who in his first 6 months as an agent made Chairman's Council at New York Life.
This is called payback time. See, I really do enjoy public speaking, but what I really don't like is finding out 15 minutes before I'm supposed to public speak. So, somewhere, some way, sometime, someone must have said, man who asks other man to speak at last minute is at mercy of man giving speech, right? Speech. So, you all are at my mercy right now. You know, this is a great, great industry, and the opportunity is really limitless. And the organization that we choose to deliver financial service solutions to our market, New York Life, is far and away the leader in the industry, and we should all be very proud of that. You know, many of you have probably heard me say time and time again that the difference between good and great in this business is pride and courage. We have to be proud of who we are and courageous enough to share the story. Recently, I was introduced to a man. He's in his early 70s now. His name is Gene Bicknell. And I don't know if any of you resonate with that name. Probably not, because it's relatively a little-known fact that Gene started his entrepreneurial career at New York Life in the early 60s. And there is a point to this story. Gene started out as an agent at New York Life in the early 60s, was fairly successful, became a sales manager, and because the OBA rules were a little bit more lenient at the time, while he was practicing and developing himself as an entrepreneur, he bought a Pizza Hut restaurant. And this guy just had a zest for thinking big and really reaching out there, and the sky's the limit kind of attitude. So Gene, as a life insurance agent, bought a Pizza Hut restaurant. While he's developing his Pizza Hut business, he's continuing to be a successful agent, gets promoted as a sales manager, and now has 20 Pizza Huts. And it was about 4 or 6 years ago, I'm not sure, Gene sold his 813 Pizza Hut franchises to Merrill Lynch for just under $1 billion. Okay, Gene Bicknell made more money in Pizza Hut than Pizza Hut made in Pizza Hut. Here's the other cool thing. He's the CEO of 5 companies right now. He has 2 theaters in Branson, Missouri. He's appeared in 4 or 5 major motion picture productions. This guy just thinks big. And that's the message I want to leave with you. You know, this business isn't about the probabilities. It's about the possibilities. What's possible in this business is limited only here. And I would ask you all to think big. John Curry used to do a great job when he talked about business planning and vision, is just really thinking big. How can you change the world? What impact can you make through this industry? And I know you all thought I was going to resign Monday and go open up a Pizza Hut, right? It's not what I'm going to do. See, Gene Bicknell's just a big thinker. He's just a big thinker. It's what's possible, not what's probable. I will tell you all what's probable in this business. If you think about what's probable, probably you won't be here next year. Probably you'll be learning a new script and it sounds something like, hello, welcome to Walmart. What's possible in this business is limitless. It's endless. It's up to you. What you want to achieve, you can achieve, but you just have to really think that way. You have to get outside the scope. You have the resources, the training, second to none, but that alone doesn't do it. See, the training and the resources aren't what make you think big, aren't what make you create big, great vision. They're not what's going to allow you to change the world through your own efforts. It's you and your paradigm on life and what you do with it. So I would ask you all, enjoy this great evening, enjoy all the fruits of your labor and the things that New York Life's been able to provide. But let that be a recommitment. Let that be your new energy to really recommit to this business, to your vision, to the impact that you can make on your marketplace through this career. And if you do that, the sky truly is the limit. You may not be selling 800 franchises to Merrill Lynch, but you may be putting Merrill Lynch out of business. Again. Okay? So with that, I appreciate everyone being here. I appreciate your attention. I appreciate what you all do. I really do. Having been in this business almost 18 years, I like to say, I used to be 6'4" with a full head of hair. There is sacrifice and commitment that goes into that. So for those who have already endured it, thank you. For those who are going to endure it, thank you. I really appreciate everything.
I quit, I'm going to work for Pizza Hut.
Our last award, I wanted to kind of personally come up here and say something because I think she knows this story, and I'm not going to tell you guys her personal story, but I will tell you my story with her. I have two siblings that are in the business with me, and we're Chinese. I don't know if everybody knew that in this room. I'm Chinese. But we would used to go to these Chinese market meetings, right? And my two brothers and I would go, and we wanted to get some motivation and we wanted to get some inspiration when we go to these meetings, but mostly we wanted to have a good time, right? So we would go to these meetings, and I could just remember as a brand new agent 10 years ago, standing in a meeting room, and here she was standing in front speaking to everybody, and she was telling her story. And most of you by now, after yesterday's meeting, know how sensitive I can be about certain things. And I was listening to her story, and wow, it was a life changer for me. It was really an impact on my career. In fact, I recall coming back from the meeting, sitting down with my two brothers and looking at each other and saying, look at what she had to go through. Look at what she did, and look at how much she accomplished. And here we are, we have it pretty good, and we complain about our opportunities. And so it wasn't just me, I can only speak for me, but I can tell you that my brothers were as impacted by her speech as I was. And we just sat there and couldn't understand how somebody with her situation, what she had to go through, could accomplish so much. Why couldn't we do the same? And really just comes down to sometimes we feel sorry for ourselves, right? We get an objection that we didn't know how to overcome. A couple people said no to us. Our cousin wouldn't buy from us, or whatever the situation is. And so, for me, it was incredible. Who knew 10 years later I would be working in the same office as this wonderful lady. So without further ado, our Agent of the Year for 2010, Karina Chu.